Have you ever had way too much food for iftar to where you found yourself in a food coma, you barely made it to Maghrib, you were not focused in your prayer, and you probably missed Taraweeh, and if you did make it to Taraweeh, you could barely stay awake because you were so tired from this terrible food coma? This is a constant problem that all Muslims have, or at least most Muslims have during Ramadan, that really takes away from our ibadah. I want to teach you how to prepare for Ramadan. I want to teach you the best foods to eat for iftar, and the worst foods and combinations of foods that you need to avoid at all costs, absolutely avoid at all costs during your iftars to ensure that you don't steal away from your ibadah and waste your Ramadan. Today I'm going to teach you the exact healthy iftar foods and combinations that you should be eating to actually boost your energy and help you get maximum ibadah out of your Ramadan, and also the order that you need to eat these foods that actually aligns with both sunnah and science and how it's going to help you to maximize your ibadah this Ramadan. The best part is this strategy not only increases your energy, which is the main purpose, and avoids those food comas, but it also helps you to build and retain muscle during Ramadan instead of losing it, and helps you to avoid fat gain during Ramadan, but instead actually lose body fat and finish Ramadan not just religiously optimized, but also physically optimized. However, the intention always needs to be for the sake of Allah. So we're doing all this for the sake of Allah. The physical benefits are just an amazing side effect that you're going to get from following the iftar strategy I'm going to share with you today, inshallah. Now, after we talk about the iftar foods, I'm also going to tell you what are the best foods to eat for late night snacks after Taraweeh, in case you ever have sugar cravings, salty cravings, crunchy cravings. I'm going to tell you all the healthy foods you can eat instead, so you can avoid eating junk after Taraweeh that ends up making you tired the next day and messing up your whole next day from an ibadah and a work standpoint, which is a big issue people have in Ramadan. So let's dive into the iftar foods and the late night snacks. Bismillah, let's get it. Mistake number 10 is people eat unhealthy iftars. And if you have an unhealthy iftar, you're gonna get bloated, your energy is gonna crash. So stop eating these large, greasy, bloating iftar meals that put you in that food coma and make it hard for you to pray Taraweeh, and that mess you up when it comes to all of your ibadah. These bad habits are gonna promote fat gain, especially around the abdomen, leaving many people feeling worse by the end of the month, and bloat that lingers for weeks or even months, and fat gain that could take months to lose post-Ramadan, which is gonna make your post-Ramadan slump even worse. Now, there's a lot of worst iftar foods, so I'm gonna give you the top 12 on the next slide. Of course, we got the fried and greasy foods, your samosas, your spring rolls, your fried chicken, your parathas. Now, we have healthy recipes for these using the air fryer and low-fat meats, but again, if you're eating the traditional version, which unfortunately is probably gonna be available to you and your family, these are high in unhealthy fats, and these foods are heavy and slow to digest, causing lethargy and discomfort, and can lead to bloating and fat gain, especially when you eat them in large quantities. Number 2, large servings of rice-based dishes, biryani, palau, kabsa. Now, of course, we teach how to make these things healthy, right, with the right balance and things. So this can be great if you want to grab our program and our Ramadan recipe book inside. But again, very important that you're not eating something that's dense in calories and carbs, but often low in protein and fiber, like the traditional way of preparing it. We want the high protein, lower fat, moderate carb version that we teach, which is amazing. The problem is if you eat the traditional version, you eat too much at once, you're gonna get a blood sugar spike and crash, which is gonna leave you feeling tired. The next mistake and worst food is sugary desserts and sweets. People wanna break their fast with gulab jamun, baklawa, kunafa, halwa, sheer korma, packed with refined sugars and fats, which leads to quick energy spikes followed by fatigue. Worst thing you can do for iftar, you're gonna be messed up all night long, and you're gonna store a bunch of fat, especially abdominal fat. You're gonna get fat during Ramadan if you eat these junk foods, and worse than that, far more important than that, is you're gonna sabotage your ibadah because you're too tired and you lack stamina, and the heaviness weighs you down and stops you from really making the most of your ibadah, getting that khushu in your salah, making the best dua as possible, because you're just trying to catch your breath because you can barely breathe because you're so full from all this junk food, okay? Don't make these mistakes. High carb bread dishes, naan, pita bread, stuffed bread, roti with heavy toppings. Again, refined carbs, little nutritional balance. These contribute to overeating and energy crashes, especially when you pair them with rich curries. Number 5, heavy curries and gravies, butter chicken, creamy lentils, aka dal makhani, beef or lamb korma, high in fat and oil. They're difficult to digest and leave you feeling sluggish, bloated, and disgusting even into the next day. Terrible feeling when you have this oily thing. You see the oil on the top of the thing, but you eat it anyways because it looks delicious. You get 30 minutes of pleasure followed by 30 hours of pain. It even lasts you until the next day. SubhanAllah, don't make these mistakes. Build good habits now so you're in the habit of saying no and eating healthy before Ramadan hits. Otherwise, at the end of your first fast, you're gonna be so ravenously hungry, so you're gonna get off to a bad momentum. You're gonna mess everything up. Don't make these mistakes, or we're gonna need an urgent intervention, okay? And again, the calories end up being way too high because people just eat these, and it's just, I'm not even going to go into it. You already know what happened. You've been there before. We've all been there before. You and I have been there before. Let's never go there again, inshallah. Now, carbonated drinks and sugary beverages, soda, fruit punch, sweetened iced tea, sorbet, lots of sugar and carbonation contributing to bloating and rapid energy crashes, giving you no satiety, making overeating more likely. Don't make these mistakes. All right, so number 7 is processed snacks and packaged foods. Chips, crackers, cheese stuffed items. You get so much salt, preservatives, unhealthy fats, which is gonna make you dehydrated and bloated. They're low in nutrients, which leave you heavy and unsatisfied. Number 8, starchy fried vegetables, potato wedges, fried eggplant, aloo tikki, right? We don't want to eat these foods that are high in simple carbs and unhealthy fats that are calorie dense but nutrient poor, leading to bloating and sluggish digestion. We want the opposite of this, which I'm going to teach you in a second. Overly creamy or cheesy dishes, lasagna, creamy pasta, cheese-loaded casseroles, heavy in fat and dairy, difficult to digest, promote fatigue, causing bloating and a feeling of heaviness that interferes with your ibadah. Number 10, overly sweetened drinks and desserts for iftar and post-tarawih. Big mistake. And we're going to talk about the post-tarawih, snacking issues that people have is the next mistake, right? After I tell you what you should eat for iftar. So sweetened yogurt drinks like lassi, milkshakes, faluda. Oh man, that sugar content is going to result in a quick energy spike and crash. Usually you pair it with heavy meals, exacerbating bloating and energy dips. Another one is high sodium soups for starters. Now, in moderation, if we're going low fat and we get a little bit of soup for hydration, it could be good. And I'm going to talk about how to do it properly in my iftar sequence. But the problem is if you do a really heavy lentil soup and you eat a bunch of it, and I will be honest with you guys, I struggle to control my portions when it comes to my mom's lentil soup. Even if she makes it without, oil, if I visit my parents for iftar, I struggle to control my portions there. So I got to be careful, and I know how to make it too. So when I make it, I also got to be careful. Otherwise, it's very easy for me to overdo it. Creamy chicken soup, packaged soups with excess salts. Again, the high sodium can actually help you rehydrate as long as you consume it in moderation. But if you overdo it, you can contribute to dehydration and bloating, especially if your digestion isn't good. Because if your digestion is all backed up, you're not going to absorb water properly, and then you have all the sodium sitting in your system and you just get so bloated. It's disgusting. That's why people get so disgustingly bloated in Ramadan and mess up everything, and it kills their ibadah, which defeats the purpose. In addition to this, oftentimes the way these are traditionally made are low in protein, high in fat, which causes sluggish digestion. There's ways to make these things healthy, high protein, balanced electrolytes, balanced quantities, so that they're still delicious, but they serve your nutrition and energy needs instead of hindering them. Number 12, excess portions of multiple dishes. So a lot of times we're gonna mix rice, bread, fried items, desserts all in one sitting because you're so hungry after the fast that you just go hard. But when you overeat this variety of heavy dishes, you overwhelm your digestive system, which leads to an energy crash, and you're gonna struggle to focus on your ibadah if you even make it to the masjid. In addition to this, so many of us, another mistake we make is we wolf down all this food before we even pray maghrib, and then it messes with our maghrib ibadah and our adhkar. So again, when we do things the wrong way with the choice of foods that we have and the sequence of how we eat our iftar, where we just wolf it down before maghrib, which I'm going to tell you what you should do instead. The negative side effects of the unhealthy version is energy crash, fat gain, bloating, sluggish digestion, reduced, our ibadah, post-Ramadan slump, dehydration, discomfort, all these other things going to mess you up, okay? What we want the opposite of that, which is the positive effects of a healthy iftar, which I'm going to teach you right now, which is sustained energy levels, improved fat management, and even fat loss, reduced bloating, efficient digestion, enhanced ibadah, most importantly, post-Ramadan momentum, and proper hydration and recovery. And so that's why it's really important that we break our fast the most optimal way. So here's the most optimal way to break your fast, and I'm going to tell you exactly which foods you should eat as well. Step 1 is break your fast with dates because it's a sunnah, and I recommend along with dates consuming a protein shake because you haven't had any protein in your system all day long. So you want to get that quick absorbing whey protein, load it into your system, and the quantities are going to vary based on your gender, body weight, size, goals, etc., as well as the overall context. And then with the dates and protein shake, you're going to have some water and some electrolytes. Keep it light. Now, step 2 is, if possible, don't eat anything yet. Go pray maghrib now. Why? Is it just so you can digest? No, absolutely not. The main reason is because praying at the beginning of the prayer window is more beloved to Allah. So get your maghrib in on time, instead of delaying it to the last minute like a lot of us do if we go wolf down all this, bloating food. Pray your sunnah prayer, do your adhkar, and guess what? The side benefit is by the time you're done with all that, your digestion will be already optimized in momentum, in addition to all these good deeds that you're getting and praying at the beginning of the window, which is by far more important. And so you're gonna have better energy, and you're gonna be a lot better at moderating your portions at iftar itself, because your appestat will have time to adjust and your digestion will be optimized, instead of you wolf down a crazy amount of high calorie foods before your body realizes it doesn't need more. Because the problem is, if you wolf down food so fast, your appestat can't adjust and tell your brain that it's full, to where by the time that it lets you know, it's too late and you've already overeaten. This strategy not only maximizes our ibadah, but it optimizes our ability to not overeat, which then maximizes our ibadah later in the night. So it's double our ibadah benefits as a result of this. Now, step 3 is, now that you're done with all of your ibadah, now you can eat. Start with some light soups, ideally made with bone broth, which is good for the lining of your stomach, collagen, all that stuff. Possibly lentils if you digest it well for protein, fiber, complex carbs. Keep the oil low, and some lean meat, absolutely. Keep the fats and carbs under control, as too much is gonna bloat you. Focus on protein and hydration, okay? And you can put, a high quality salt like Redmond's real salt is a good one that you can put in there, just in moderation, of course. So very important that you build this plan and habit now with Sunnah fast, because if you wait until Ramadan, it's gonna be really hard. Your first fast is gonna be so hard for you not to just wolf down food if you haven't built this habit before Ramadan. Versus if you build this habit before Ramadan, it'll be very easy for you and you're gonna be doing way better. So don't try to do it the first night, because you're gonna have ravenous hunger at iftar time, and there's gonna be social pressure to indulge. People are gonna be like, oh, it's the first night of Ramadan, don't worry, you can do it later. Blah. All these excuses people make because they themselves are hungry too and don't wanna feel guilty about themselves that you're eating healthier than them. So what they're gonna do is they're gonna try to guilt you into eating some junk and mess you up so they can pull you down just like the rest of them. And they're not doing this on purpose, it's just human nature. That's just how humans are. So don't indulge in the soups, fried dishes, and 3-course spread and barely make maghrib at the last minute after eating 2,000 calories, bloated in a food coma with barely any khushu, sleep through tarawih after barely praying Isha. Definitely not what you want to do. Practice the habits now so it's easy for you to hit the ground running once Ramadan hits. Now, what are the best anti-bloat healthy foods for iftar? Dates in moderation for hydration and energy, and fruit in general, especially light fruit like watermelon, these light hydrating fruits. Even carrots, which are a vegetable, are very good. Protein shake, lean meats, light soups, lentils in moderation if you tolerate them well, salads, as long as you digest them well. Light serving of complex carbs. Again, be careful, and most people do well without this. So like air fried potato wedges instead of deep fried, right? Some rice with no oil, basmati rice instead of rice with oil. Sweet potato, very good. Light serving of avocado. Just remember that avocado is very calorie dense, so you got to keep the serving very small and make sure it's according to your calorie goals. Be careful with dates and nuts because the calories will add up, but if they digest well for you and you tend to undereat, it's a great way to get your calories in if you tend to eat too little calories. But most people tend to eat too many calories, which is why dates and nuts should generally be either avoided or consumed in moderation. Dates, obviously, we can't avoid them because it's sunnah, and they do have some benefits in moderation, but keep it limited to 1 to 3 if you tend to overeat. But if you tend to undereat, you can eat a lot more dates as long as it doesn't put you in a food coma or violate the sunnah of 1/3 for food, 1/3 for water, 1/3 to save room for your breath. And you can skip my whole video if you just follow the portion control hadith. Then that will cover all of your iftar needs, and then you just got to eat the high quality foods like what the Prophet ﷺ used to eat. But again, remember, the more calorie dense foods like the dates and nuts are best for those who tend to undereat and need higher calories, but they're best avoided for those who tend to overeat and who need to keep their calories lower, except for the sunnah quantity of dates, which is 3 at iftar time. Now, unhealthy late night snacking, mistake number 11. So I'm just going to go through the list here. Dried fruit, way too many calories. Nuts, way too many calories. Unless you're somebody who struggles to get enough calories in, which most people struggle to eat they eat too many calories in Ramadan. Nuts and, sorry, I already said nuts. Traditional sweets and desserts, avoid at all costs, so unhealthy for you. Fried snacks and leftovers, we've already discussed at length why these are bad for you. Sugary drinks and beverages, I've discussed at length. Ice cream or dairy-based desserts, do Greek yogurt instead, much better. Bread or rice-based leftovers, I don't even need to explain. Chocolate and candy, chips and processed snacks, leftover curries and greasy foods. Again, all these foods have so much sugar, they spike your insulin, they disrupt your sleep, they lead to energy crashes, they're high in calorie density, easy to overeat, leading to rapid fat gain. They're just really greasy and heavy, which is going to lead to sluggish digestion, leading to bloating, discomfort, sleep issues the next day, issues during suhoor, issues during fajr. We don't want that post tarawih, which makes me sad because I see these guys drinking sugary tea and eating baklawa after tarawih, and I'm like, man, you guys are ruining your Ramadan right now. And again, the sleep disruption, sugar, fat, and sometimes caffeine interfere with restful sleep. So don't be drinking that sugary chai after tarawih. I know it's tempting. I know everybody else is doing it. I know the brothers are so warm and inviting when they tell you to come, but you got to be committed to your health, not because you're some narcissistic bodybuilder who has to look good. No, because you're committed to Allah and maximizing your ibadah, and you now understand scientifically why these bad habits are going to mess up your ibadah during Ramadan. And even if they don't mess up your ibadah, they're definitely going to take away from you performing your peak potential. Let's be real here. But if you're optimized with your health and your nutrition, your ibadah is going to be another level better than it ever has been during Ramadan before. Inshallah, bi'idhnillah. Now, the best late night snacks are 0% Greek yogurt, sugar-free, absolutely amazing, satisfies the ice cream craving, cold, delicious, helps you get your protein intake up if you struggle to get enough protein in Ramadan. Absolutely amazing for muscle retention. I mean, the list goes on why this is beneficial. Low-calorie protein bars and protein chips. Again, these are processed, but they do work if you're really craving like chips and chocolate. These will definitely do the trick, although they can cause some bloating, but not as much, right? Light watery fruits like watermelon and strawberries, which will help with hydration, micronutrients, satisfying the sweets cravings. Carrots, which you can dip in 0% Greek yogurt ranch recipe. Celery, which you can dip in the 0% Greek yogurt ranch recipe. Hydrating, delicious, satisfies those crunchy and salty cravings. Now, we're going to consolidate mistake number 12 through 14 because this video is getting long and I don't want you to just learn and not take action. I want you to go take action, whether it's inside of our app and coaching, which we have linked below, or whether it's on your own. Obviously, the best case scenario is if you invest in yourself, and we always have even if you're on a tight budget, we've made our app at a very affordable price to make sure it's accessible to everybody. But if you want elite hands-on coaching and support, our coaching program is definitely the way to go as well. But whatever level makes sense for you, we want to help you at a deep level. but don't just think about it. Don't just read about it. Don't just learn about it. Go take action, get accountability, get structure. Make sure that you're seeing success. All right, I hope you enjoyed that video. This strategy is gonna be an absolute game changer for you, your family, and anybody else who you share this with. So please share this video with everybody you know who's trying to get ready for Ramadan so they can stop making this terrible mistake of eating too much of the wrong foods at Iftar and instead get the energy benefits and physique and health benefits, most importantly, the ibadah benefits of eating an optimized Iftar and late night snack. I look forward to you and your family having the best Ramadan that you've ever had. So share this with your family, share it with an accountability partner, and let's make sure that you all feel sharp and energetic instead of feeling heavy and lethargic. Now, if you're watching this before Ramadan, you actually need to build the habit now, because I know that you're watching this, you're like, yes, as soon as Ramadan starts, I'm going to apply it. But no, you need to start now, because the first day of Ramadan, you're going to be excited. You're going to be like, this is the first day. I'll just, start second day. Before you know it, though, you're going to get into a bad habit. It's going to be really hard to say no to unhealthy foods. So start Sunnah fasting before Ramadan and for Iftar. Make sure that you practice this nutrition strategy so that it's locked in for you before Ramadan begins. When you combine the habit of Sunnah fasting before Ramadan with the other healthy habits that we teach in our Ramadan prep series, it's going to make such a difference and help you to truly be ready for Ramadan, to make this the best Ramadan that you've ever had by the permission of Allah. So speaking of which, make sure you watch the next video in the series. We're dropping it in 2 days. And of course, if you're watching this at least 2 days after we're posting it, then it's already up and we're going to attach it somewhere over here. We'll see you there, inshallah. It'll also be in the description. And inshallah, let's get it. I'll see you in the next video. Assalamu Alaykum.